Have you ever dreamed of growing your own food but thought, nope, I don't have the space, the time, or, the green thumb for it? Well, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to completely reimagine gardening from the ground up, literally. Let's dive into the amazing world of hydroponics. So let me just ask you this. What if you could grow crisp lettuce, fresh herbs, juicy tomatoes all year long right inside your home or apartment? And what if you could do it without ever touching a bag of soil or pulling a single annoying weed? Sounds pretty incredible, right? Well, that's exactly the promise we're talking about today. At its core, hydroponics is actually super simple. Instead of plant roots digging through dirt hoping to find food, we bring a perfect, nutrient-packed meal directly to them through water. It's kind of like being a personal chef for your plants. No dirt, no mess, just pure, efficient, and super fast growth. So what's the big deal about leaving the soil behind? Let's get into what makes this method so revolutionary. Well, for starters, it solves some of the biggest gardening headaches. First off, forget about seasons. You can grow fresh produce 365 days a year. It's also insanely water efficient. We're talking up to 90% less water than soil gardening because you're recycling it. And of course, no soil means you can say goodbye to weeding forever. But the best part, plants often grow way faster and give you bigger harvests because their food is so easy to access. It is an absolute game changer for anyone living in an apartment or with a tiny balcony. Okay, are you feeling intrigued yet? I hope so. The best way to get started is with the simplest, most beginner-friendly setup there is. It's called a deep water culture system, or DWC for short. Let's break down how you can build one this weekend. Now, don't let the technical names scare you off. The idea is so straightforward. Just imagine giving your plant's roots a permanent spa day, a personal bubble bath where they can just hang out and soak up all the water, oxygen, and nutrients they could ever dream of. In a nutshell, that is a DWC system. And you really don't need a high-tech lab to build this. We're talking about a simple 5-gallon bucket or a plastic tote, some little plastic pots, and an air pump kit you'd find in the fish aisle at a pet store. All of this stuff is super easy to find and really affordable. Putting this together is a perfect weekend project. Seriously. You just use a hole saw to cut a few openings in the lid for your pots, then you drill one little hole for the airline tubing. That tube connects to an air stone, that's what makes all the bubbles, and the air pump. That's the most important part. It gets oxygen to the roots. After that, you just fill it up with water and nutrients, pop your little plants into their pots, and set them in the lid. Boom! You've just built your own super efficient garden. Okay, so once your system is built, running it successfully really comes down to 3 key things. I call them the 3 pillars. The first, and maybe the most important one, is giving your plants the right food. See, in a regular garden, the soil does all the work of holding onto nutrients, but here, you are the chef. You get to be in total control, delivering all 17 essential nutrients a plant needs to thrive, right to its roots through the water. This direct delivery is what makes that explosive growth possible. And listen, you don't need a degree in chemistry to get this right. As the experts at the University of Minnesota Extension say, the absolute easiest way to go is to just buy a pre-mixed nutrient solution that's designed for what you want to grow. Whether it's lettuce or tomatoes or herbs, just follow the instructions on the bottle and you're golden. Okay, on to pillar number 2. Your plants have food, they have water, but they still need energy to actually eat that food. And that energy, of course, comes from light. Let's talk about how to get it right indoors. The most important thing here is getting the light intensity right. For growing indoors, a fantastic rule of thumb is to aim for about 32 watts of actual power from an LED light for every square foot of growing space you have. That is really the sweet spot for getting healthy, robust growth for things like leafy greens and herbs. Now, when you're shopping for lights, you're probably going to see 2 main options: LEDs and fluorescents. And yeah, fluorescents are cheaper up front, I get it, but trust me, LEDs are the champion for a reason. They're way more energy efficient, so they'll save you money on your electric bill. They also run much, much cooler, so you don't risk burning your plants, and a good one can last for a decade. It's just a fantastic long-term investment. So we've got our nutrients, we've got our light, but there's one final piece of the puzzle that really brings it all together. This is our 3rd pillar. And while it sounds a little scientific, it's absolutely critical for your success. We're talking about pH balance. The best way to think about it is like this. You can have the most perfect 5-star meal, the best nutrients in your water. But if the pH is wrong, your plants can't eat it. The pH is literally the key that unlocks the food and makes it available for the roots to absorb. For pretty much everything you're going to grow, you're aiming for this pH sweet spot, right between 5.5 and 6.5. If your water gets too acidic or too alkaline, so outside of this range, you get a problem called nutrient lockout. It means even though the food is right there, the roots are chemically blocked from taking it in. You'll see things like yellowing leaves, and your plants will just stop growing. Testing your pH is super easy. You can start with these really cheap litmus strips. They work just like a pool test kit, where you just dip and match the color. Or if you get more into it, a digital pH meter will give you a super precise reading. Either way, the goal is just to test it maybe once or twice a week and make tiny adjustments to keep it in that sweet spot. And that's really it. Nutrients, light, and pH. Those are the three pillars that are going to support your entire hydroponic garden. You now have all the basic knowledge you need to get growing. So let's just do a quick recap. This is your recipe for success. Remember to start simple with that easy DWC system. You don't need to get fancy. For your plant food, let the experts do the work and just buy a pre-mixed formula. For light, keep that 32 watt per square foot rule in your back pocket. And finally, be the gatekeeper for your plant's food by checking that your pH stays in that magic window between 5.5 and 6.5. If you can manage these few things, you are going to be so successful. The most amazing thing about all of this is that it's not some far-off dream. A future with fresh, homegrown food is literally just a bucket and a trip to the hardware store away. You can do this. So the only question left is, what are you going to grow first?